Murder is wrong. I just figured I'd get that out of the way now. Hi, I'm Avery, and I'm scared like a lot of the time. I and many other young people have grown up under the constant threat of gun violence in our schools, nuclear annihilation, the environment just finally giving out on us, a laundry list of other things. And that's created a somewhat nihilistic sentiment about the future. And if we really are as fucked as my Instagram feed says we are, what can we do? What's the plan? I personally have always been in the camp of roll over on your back and watch the sky fall. But let's say you aren't like that. Let's say you want to be a hero and change the world for the better. I say more power to you. Go get them. But what's out there for you? What role models do you have left? There is one that I can think of, at least. Theodore Kaczynski was an exceptionally gifted young man. He entered Harvard at age 16 after skipping multiple grades. He excelled in everything that he did there, and later on, his master's degree. When he was 25, he became the youngest ever assistant at UC Berkeley, but just 2 years later would resign, moving back to Illinois with his parents. 2 years after that, he moved again to a tiny cabin in Montana, where he would live for more than 20 years. He began to read extensively about sociology and developed a deep, nihilistic, but strangely humanist view on modern society. This view grew more and more extreme as the years went on, leading to small acts of rebellion such as pouring sugar in gas tanks, sabotaging motorcycles, and poisoning dogs for some reason. There was a few reports of that. Eventually, deciding that this was not enough, he began sending out increasingly advanced bombs disguised as packages to people that he believed to be a threat to his idealized society, mostly college students, professors, and business people. His bombing campaign lasted for 17 years, during which time he sent out at least 16 bombs, which killed 3 people and injured 23 others. When he was finally caught, it was because he demanded that his manifesto, Industrial Society and Its Future, be published by a reputable newspaper. When it was, his brother recognized the writing style and hired a private investigator to survey Kaczynski. This, combined with further investigation, led to his arrest on April 3rd, 1996. Now, what could lead someone down this path? What idealized society did Kaczynski see that was worth all this violence? Well, he explains it in his manifesto. I'm sure that many of you have heard its opening line, "The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race." But there is more context to it, and it's quite interesting. You see, Kaczynski thought that all modern technology was evil. It was making us subservient to it. It was making us stupid. We couldn't have our own independent thoughts anymore. And people were living half-lives, these unnatural things that were just chugging along underneath the iron fist of technology. And he believed that this half-life was leading to some kind of widespread psychological suffering. He later expands to say that he believes that the collapse of modern society is inevitable, and rich business owners and politicians who care more about profit and power than the world around them are going to bring it about. But his bombings are just speeding up the process. Of course, society collapsing would cause catastrophes in the short term, but he believes that it would be worth it in the long term to return mankind to what he believes to be their natural state in the woods. Now, some of you may look at that and think, wow, that is topical, and you would not be the only ones. Many people have called it an early call out to fascism and a widespread warning of the impacts that we're having on the environment. There is, however, a little bit more going on here. Kaczynski got a lot of his inspiration from other writers, so for every good idea he had, there were 7 more bad ones. And the good ones were typically just taken from the writers that he liked. I don't feel the need to list every bad idea he had. You can read through the document if you want. But let it be known, pretty much the only type of bigot that he was not was a racist. And I mean, I'm not even really sure about that. Kaczynski's personal tale was not tragic. He hurt many, many people and left behind a culture of terror and fear that lingered far, far after his death. He was a negative impact on the world. His manifesto is not worth reading. His ideas are not worth following. But I think a part of him is worth remembering. I think that there are important lessons that we can learn from a man like Kaczynski about today's society, about the way that we view things past the media lens. Of course, that is just my opinion, and if you disagree with me, I implore you, be the change that you want to see in the world. Here's my shipping address.